we have an opportunity where we can introduce some referendum issues to this election.
From where you're seated, do we have the capacity to do our election together with the referendum?
Of course.
Are you willing to work with the other leaders from that region, especially one George Natembeya?
But I told you people at that time that this is hot air. Luhya unity does not mean that you succumb to nonsense. I'm telling the people of Western Kenya is that President Ruto is going to be re-elected.
Very good evening. Welcome to TV 47. I'm Elizabeth Mutuku. As usual, we're here to give reflection of the year 2025. What are the greatest achievements of the Kenya Kwanza government, the hits and misses? There has been challenges, but also there are good things which came out of this government in the year 2025. Remember, each and every day, it's a step. But also, we give you an opportunity to speak to us, 222-3047, as well our social media handles. I'm Liz Mutuku, and today we give focus to one great leader, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, who doubles up as the Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to hear from you in the year 2025.
Thank you.
How has the year been for you?
Well, very eventful.
Yes.
Some interesting moments, but also some sad moments. The sad moment really is primarily having to bid farewell to Raila Odinga.
A leader who you've worked with entirely.
Yes, worked with, who contributed immensely to this country in terms of development and also in terms of broadening and opening up the political space in this country. We are yet to come to terms with what politics will be
2027
without his presence.
I'd like to hear one memorable thing which probably you're going to carry on even as you're doing politics in the absence of Raila Odinga.
He's a man who knew what he was fighting for. He knew when to apply brakes. He also knew when to press the button. He's an individual who loved this country. He was patriotic. And whenever he did his politics, the one thing he was very clear about was that not at the expense of destroying your country.
We cannot speak of Raila Odinga without going back to broad-based government. What does the future look like from where you're seated?
I think the seed for broader collaboration, the whole message around inclusivity has become even deeper, all right? The whole theory, the philosophy that the winner takes it all has been discounted. That it is with the kind of democracy we have, where you need 50% plus one. You know, you can never operate on the basis that the winner has it all. You have to always bear in mind that even after the electoral process, even after decisions have been made, Kenyans do not like an attitude of exclusivity. You must find a way of reaching out and working and bringing people together. I think that legacy is going to endure, whether it is with broad-based government or even into the future. I think that is something that we have to bear in mind.
You speak of inclusivity, and it reminds me of the NADICO report, which Raila Odinga had called for to be implemented. The process, many Kenyans and leaders out there feel that it has been quite slow. Is it likely to happen, especially broadening and allowing the one who loses at least to have an office? Is it something which is likely to happen before we get to the next election?
I think what we have a great opportunity here, and this one is something I've just been giving some thought. You know, as the IEBC is constituted, we are going into a new election. It will be an election where the term of the government is renewed, okay, or terminated, depending on how Kenyans are going to vote. But we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to correct some things, in my view, and this perhaps is the better time, where we can introduce some referendum issues to this election.
From where you're seated, do we have the capacity to do our election together with the referendum?
Of course, we can. The referendum law can be completed before the next election. You know, there was some element of it that required parliament. Once we have firmed up and aligned the referendum law, since the election is going to be in August 2027, we have an opportunity to put on the table some critical issues that may not be resolved through a simple parliamentary process, but may require broader public participation. And the broadest public participation is a referendum.
Which you think we can achieve in the 2027 election?
Yes, and I believe that if we apply ourselves some of the critical issues around the NADCO, this is a good opportunity. First of all, we'll have resolved a constitutional issue. We'll have done it with broader public participation, okay? So that nobody can be accused of this was interfered with or whatever, this is an elitist agenda, this is what. This would be an opportunity for Kenyans to actually resolve some very, very fundamental issues in a democratic way.
Once and for all. Is it not going to be extremely expensive for Kenyans?
No, it's not. If we work it out well, and you have maybe 3 or 4 very critical issues that you want Kenyans to resolve, when you get to the ballot box, you're already voting for 6 candidates. Remember, you vote for the presidency, you vote for, you know, the whole array, Senate up to the MCA level. What would be difficult in adding 1 or 2 questions?
Is it something you're willing to push?
I think so. First of all, it would also improve on voter turnout, because if people have been reluctant to vote on the issue of individuals, you know, some just don't want to vote for individuals. But if there are key constitutional issues, this is an opportunity, and there could be no greater opportunity. And I believe it would enhance the voter turnout, and there would be more people coming out to vote because there would be a constitutional issue to be dealt with.
That's a good one. I know we have had, we concluded by-elections the other day, and you emerged through the Kenya Kwanza government. You took the important...
By the way, before you go there, you know, like, for instance, what are some of the debates? Some of the debates are, is CDF constitutional or not constitutional?
Yes.
You'll never solve that thing through parliament.
Senate fund?
Senate fund, is it constitutional or not constitutional? You'll never solve it through parliamentary numbers. But it's a fundamental question. Put it to the people.
You don't think the parliament can resolve that?
No. They've had it for a long time. Have they resolved it? It goes to court. The court makes a ruling. They look at it differently. Governments are being blackmailed by the fact that if you don't do this on CDF or you don't do this on the Senate fund, we are going to make it difficult for you in a different area. So the best way, because we can't become prisoners to this kind of thing. So this, for instance, can be a candidate for a very serious referendum question.
You speak of a broad-based expansion of the government and also referendum, but also there are the 10-point issues through the broad-based government.
Some of them which can be resolved through the normal parliamentary process.
And ODM says can be pushed, can be implemented the best way possible before even the next general election.
Knowing Kenyans and knowing how they go through this, and even knowing the legislative process of parliament, you may not achieve that. Okay, it's a desired objective, but you may not achieve it. Okay, because what are the processes of even a piece of legislation? If you take up a legislation, you must do public participation. If you don't do public participation, a Kenyan will go to court and he'll win, and you'll go back and start afresh. Now, just looking at what Parliament has to do, we've lost a lot of time already, but we can work towards implementing all this. And even on the development programs that we have, whether it is affordable housing, whether it is universal health care and so forth, just imagine the process that you have to go through to be able to come to a stage where that piece of legislation can now be implemented.
So what is the way forward?
So that's why I'm saying that let us be realistic in some of our targets. And that is also why I'm saying in some areas, some of them may have to be better off settled through a referendum.
Let me go back to the by-elections. I remember very well you had promised to win. Congratulations. The Kenya Kwanza government took the important seats, that is the MC seats in all areas. But at the same time, many Kenyans are asking of your grip in the Western region ahead of the 2027 general election.
Time will tell, because I've always told people that, including you, when I was telling you that I know we are going to win. We'll work towards the victory, and we did. All right? So I can only tell the people of Western Kenya is that time will tell, and let's make the correct decisions. I was very consistent. First, I told them President Ruto was going to win the election. When I had the earthquake movement, it came to pass. I told them that I have made, through consultation, through a lot of reflection, the decision, and we've gone through the processes, let us dissolve ANC and have a merger with UDA. It happened. I then told them that it will not be long. The ODM will be coming
on board.
And Raila and others will be working with President Ruto. It came to pass. Using that same consistency, I'm telling the people of Western Kenya, my forecast for 2027 is that President Ruto is going to be re-elected.
Even as you speak of winning and President William Ruto being re-elected in the 2027 general election, are you willing to work with the other leaders from that region, including those who are opposed to what you're doing, especially one George Natembea, who is now leading the Tawe movement?
But I told you people at that time that this is hot air. This is a fellow who is just entered election for the first time.
They accused you and others of rigging them.
They did, but we beat them. Yeah. So let us really let us shock some of these people into reality. And some of them were shocked into reality after the by-election. It's now dawning on them that it's not what they thought. Okay? And I told them that come 2027, we shall be fielding candidates in your backyards.
Actually, you told Natembea that you're going to feel candidate against him.
The Luya unity does not mean that you succumb to nonsense. And Luya unity does not mean that you browbeat people into one corner. No. The whole concept of what unity is all about, I think, needs to be reflected on carefully. Okay? There could be unity of purpose, but there could be divergence. So the message I'm trying to tell our people here is that when we talk of purpose, let us be strategic.
Being the senior-most leader from that region, is it not time you find a way of bringing everyone on board, even as we speak of President William Ruto being re-elected?
That is my mission. That is why I made a deliberate decision that we work with UDA. I'm giving them the signal in broad daylight. The logical and strategic thing to do is to work with UDA, work with President Ruto. That's the message. It cannot be louder. It cannot be brighter.
They say that the numbers the Luya nation has does not reflect the terms of development they get in that region. And that is why they are forging their way out.
How many years have they been forging their way out? When you're veering away from government, you think you're forging your way out? Why have we seen better development in other areas? It's because they have a strategic engagement with the governments so that they can have a greater voice in the allocation of resources in parliament.
Do you believe you've done enough?
If we are going to scatter ourselves into minuscule entities, then we will have ourselves to blame. This is why we keep on saying, let's look at ODM as a classic example. They've come in the broad-based. They are showing some urgency on the need, and their statements, their actions, on the need to embrace working with the government. If people who are at the center of opposition, the ODM who are at the center of opposition, are already saying that we have to strategize afresh and work with the government, and you are there trying to say you want to exit, let me tell you, Kenyans will look at opportunities. The moment we say we are exiting or we are going into those minuscule games, let me tell you, another region will take advantage of it and step in. There'll be no vacuum. They will move in.
And you'll be forgotten.
And you'll suffer the consequences of being in minuscule parties.
Do you believe yourself and Wetangula, Speaker Moses Wetangula, you hold senior-most positions in this government? Do you believe that the development has trickled down to Mwananchi and they feel the impact of yourselves being in the government?
I think if you expect that all development will trickle down in 3 years, you're also being overambitious. He's the speaker, I am what I am, and it's now. But it will take time. It has to be a consistent pounding in the right direction. It cannot be an on and off relationship. It has to be consistent, targeted, strategic, over a period of time. All right? But as we speak now, and we're now beginning to see the push for the artery, the northern corridor. The other day we were breaking ground. Can you imagine how many years of development this country has suffered because of the blockade that is taking place, the congestion on that road? How much will it do for agriculture? For the economies of the farmers, whether from Malaba border coming all this way? For years they've been locked. Just the way the Thika highway has done wonders for the economy of Laikipia and other places. The exports are moving faster. The avocados are moving faster. So equally, we need to see another artery. We need to see the SGR going there, so that the economies, holistically. We want to see LAPSET, going through the northern part into South Sudan, so that you open up the economies.
Coming to matters economy, I know that is your strength. There has been great criticism from some leaders, especially on borrowing in the 3 years, over 4 trillion shillings, or rather 4 trillion shillings, which they say we've borrowed until now. Whereas President William Ruto, on the other hand, is promising us of heading to Singapore and great transformation in coming years. How achievable is it?
It is achievable. It is achievable. Once we get our investment agenda right, both in infrastructure and others, once we open up the roads that I'm talking about for people to start uplifting their well-being, then we are on the journey to becoming as good as Singapore.
Opposition leaders have raised queries on the implementation of the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, which they say it's not halfway implemented, and yet President William Ruto is now making promises.
We are not yet even halfway of the government. Equally, we are not. A government is elected on a 5-year term, renewable for another 5 years. From where we are sitting, we are making the difficult decisions that are going to put Kenya on a proper trajectory. So, what happened when we brought in the private sector? Safaricom has become the largest.
Again, there goes the question of public participation, explaining to Kenyans, and let there not be secrecy.
But what is the secrecy? It's public. Why do you think there's a stock exchange? Why do you think Safaricom is in the stock market? It's a public company. It's in the stock market.
Many Kenyans are wondering, why sell what is working, especially our Safaricom shares?
It is an asset that belongs to the government.
The year 2025 has witnessed Kenyans finding themselves abducted in some other foreign East African countries, others held, and it's something also you've helped. But as we are seated here, how many Kenyans are jailed in Tanzania and Uganda specifically?
I would not give you the exact data at this point in time as to who, because there are many who find themselves there through personal transgression. Okay? But these are statistics that last time I shared in Parliament, I did share of virtually all the cases that had been brought to our knowledge in all countries where Kenyans were facing some measure of incarceration. And there were about 1,000 to 1,100, not in Uganda, not in Tanzania, but globally, Some are in South Africa, some are in the US, some are in whatever, for different kind of offenses.
Our relationship, bilateral relationships between ourselves and Tanzania.
Perfect.
Yet they seem to be barring us from doing business.
I think the situation has changed significantly. After the, let me call it election fever. After the election fever, things have changed and a lot of normalcy has come back to place. Yes.
Are you assuring Kenyans today they can feel free transacting with Tanzania specifically?
Yes, yes. We are all members of the East African community. Yes, they should feel free.
There are families which decried of their kins killed during that election.
I'm aware of one, and we are pursuing that diplomatically. Yeah, the teacher who lost his life, that's the one we're pursuing. No other Kenyans lost their life.
We've been accused of lacking clear foreign policy, especially dealing with our East African neighbors. Yeah,
really?
There has been accusation.
What is clear? Give me an example. What would you call as clear?
It has been said so. And being the Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary, it is your duty.
I cannot talk of a generality. Where is the clarity that you want? Yeah.
Especially matters doing business and our people also being held there.
We are members of the East African community.
Yes.
Okay? I've given data that Kenya is the largest beneficiary of the East African Community Treaty.
The question of not Tanzania, but Uganda as well, we saw our activists held there. And afterwards, we had some of the leaders bragging that they were in a fridge somewhere. And some of Kenyans feel unprotected when it comes to...
No, Kenyans are protected. Kenyans are protected. They were released, they're home.
Is Uganda overstretching when it comes to our borders?
No.
Is there anything Kenyans should be afraid of, especially the statements coming like from President Yoweri Museveni?
We should not be afraid.
We shouldn't.
We should not be afraid.
There is the question of Ukraine, where Kenyans are getting very lucrative job offers through our agents. How far are we with this?
Did you say Ukraine or Russia?
Russia, sorry.
We have already told them that those, all that glitters is not gold. That should be the answer to them. All that glitters is not gold.
How many Kenyans so far?
We have an estimate of about 200. Okay, we cannot be precise because they were not making full disclosure at all about their intentions and where they are going. By the way, some of them did not even disclose to their family members. We are only coming across alarm bells that, hey, we are in trouble.
What measures are we taking?
We are deregistering any entities that are involved in this sinister game. That's one. Two, we are telling Kenyans, please, there's the Ministry of Labor, there's the National Employment Agencies, and then there's the Department of Diaspora. They are there to offer services to help you determine the integrity of the institution that is telling you that there is a possibility of a job. These institutions are not snatching the job from you. They are there to help you verify the integrity of the institution that is offering you the job. So we want Kenyans, and I'm appealing to them, please do that. In Kiswahili they say, kuuliza si ujinga. So going out there to simply say, can you help us verify whether this agency purportedly run by Mr. Mudavadi is doing a good job, its integrity cannot be questioned, and they are not going to put the lives of Kenyans in danger. That's the question we want you to be able to verify by these agencies.
There are Kenyans who found themselves in Russia without disclosure of what they were going to do. And probably if they reach out to the government, are they going to get help if they won't come back?
The 18 who were there, whom we have helped, reached out to the embassy. That's why they are home.
Lastly, on the US-Kenya medical, or rather health deal, which has been barred by Kenyans. Not by courts, sorry. Yeah. Can you candidly tell Kenyans about the realities of their data when it comes to this deal?
First of all, we have the Data Protection Act. It's in place. It's quoted in those documents. I wish I had it here, but it's in the public domain. You look at it. It's very clear. When USID was here, because the Data Protection Act came in 2017, all right? The government of Kenya, the people of Kenya enacted the Data Protection Act in 2017. Tell me, how are they dealing with the issues that are being canvassed in court today? We have brought in the law. We have a data protection law. The agreement, the MOU, is a framework. It clearly says that where there's a dispute the laws of Kenya shall prevail. Because it's data of Kenya. It's in the document that I signed.
Are you saying we are in courts out of ignorance?
Out of mischief. On this one, not ignorance. It's mischief.
I hear you, leader.
Yeah? You see, let's also look at this way. And in the mischief that we're doing, I also want to pose a moral question. Because this program is covering supply of medicine to needy Kenyans, 1.4 million Kenyans who have been affected by HIV. This program is covering Kenyans who have tuberculosis. This program is covering Kenyans who have diabetes. This program is covering Kenyans who also have polio and other diseases of this nature. Now, you are telling me here that because of our petty politics, we disregard the right to life of these other Kenyans. Because of our petty politics, we are obstructing their right to life, given by God, because life is God-given, and then underpinned in our Constitution. So you want the government of Kenya, first of all, it cannot tax. Secondly, there's no USAID program. Thirdly, the health resources are overstretched. It goes and negotiates a program that will help the people of Kenya fill a serious financing gap, which has life-saving consequences.
And what is this mischief?
The mischief is that the American government said, on this one, we are tired of dealing with NGOs. We want to deal government to government. So, a lot of the NGOs that were beneficiaries of support from the United States are bitter, and therefore they are rushing to court.
Thank you so much, leader. It's Christmas season.
Yes.
Many Kenyans need to hear your message this Christmas season. And even as we're looking forward for the year 2026, because I know it is going to be a robust one, owing to a reality that we are heading to an election. What do you have in class?
I want to encourage everybody that let's maintain law and order. Let us make sure that there's security for everybody. At the end of the day, we are the guarantors of each other's security, all right? By behaving responsibly, by acting responsibly, even if there's going to be some measure of excitement and celebration, let us also enjoy and celebrate responsibly, so that we don't lose any lives on the road or anywhere. Finally, let us move to the new year with the commitment that Kenya is ours and the ultimate solutions must come through us. Difficult decisions will be made at family level, at personal level, family level, but ultimately, let's move in the right direction.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year as well. Thank you so much for watching TV47. Of course, it has been a great interview with one great leader, as I said, as I was starting this program. His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi. Keep it TV 47. I'm Elizabeth Matuko.